What's up, guys? Chris from the Review Cave here, and as you can see, I am back down in the room where I recorded my first couple manga review videos for these vlog reviews that I have been doing for the past couple months. I was in my room for the last couple of videos because I didn't really have time to come down here, or because it tends to echo a bit and it bothers everyone. So doing it in my room doesn't really bother anyone, and it kind of helps condense some of the noise. So if you hear a bit of an echo, it's because I'm down here and there's a lot of room for it. But anyway, the main thing, I just like the background here. So whenever I have the chance, I will be doing my reviews down here, so you can have like a nice background to look at, essentially, while I talk and say my BS when it comes to reviewing these chapters. So yeah. If you see me here, then that means I have the ability to come here and record with this background. Or if not, I'll be in my room and I'll have the plain blue background. I'm gonna work on seeing if I can use that plain blue background to see if I can use like a green screen effect just to make it more entertaining for you guys when I review these chapters. But all that aside, I just wasted a minute of your time for this video. So yeah, this is 2 days late, and I apologize for that. I didn't really have the time to record the last 2 days. But anyway, back here, One Piece, Chapter 985, the new Onigashima project, and we have finally learned what this is. So the chapter starts off with us meeting the Scabbards, which I believe is at the top of the staircase that led to one of the bigger gates once they reached New Onigashima with Law. And there they're confronted with an ambush from Kanjuro, who kind of assumed that they would be coming here through the back, since he knows how cunning they can be, and that despite everything happening, chances are at least they would have made it, especially since Luffy is kind of causing trouble in the main hall before, along with Kid, Zoro, and Killer. So Kanjuro confronts them, and I do love Izo's response to Kanjuro's drawings, because he creates a bunch of headless samurai, and some of them are in fact on horseback, and I think he meant them to be similar to them in a sense of their full samurai armor from back in the day, I believe. And Izo's response is basically like, are those supposed to be headless samurai? How artistic of you. Which goes to show that this is the first time that Izo saw that Kanjuro, the traitor, can in fact use his devil fruit to make such very specific and detailed drawings with his devil fruit. And it shows just how much useful it could have been if he was, in fact, on their side the entire time. But that's neither here or there. So Kanjuro does begin to explain about what happened with Momo, since it is asked. And he does state the specific details of what happened when Momo tried to escape. A couple of chapters ago, Momo found a knife on the ground from one of the beast pirates that thought Kanjuro was the enemy as he was taking Momo to Orochi and Kaido after discovering everything that just happened. So, it turns out Momo did pick up the knife stealthily, cut himself loose, and tried to run away. Kanjuro noticed this and tried to get him. Momo managed to fight back and stab Kanjuro in the hand, but you see the little band-aid on his right palm, and it's like, it wasn't nothing. But it did piss off Kanjuro. We actually saw him lose his cool, and he beat the kid senseless until he was unconscious. And it is stated that with the being Momo got for a regular 8-year-old kid, he probably would have been beaten to death if that happened. So it's most likely Odin's blood that made his body more durable and stronger than it should normally be. I mean, the man stood in boiling oil for over an hour, and he took out Kaido when he was in his 20s, 30s, late 20s, early 30s. So just goes to show how strong Momo can in fact become if we use Odin as an example. So I do like how as he's basically describing how all he needs to do is buy time, since he's saying that Momo's about to be executed. One thing I do like is how Cat Viper and Dogstrom are having this little conversation off on the side, like completely ignoring Kanjuro. And Dogstrom is like, "What's up with your arm?" And Cat Viper's like, "You like?" And I love how they're acknowledging the double barrel shotgun that Cat Viper does in fact have. That is something that I really do enjoy, and I like a little banter between the two, because it's just like them to do this, because even when they're in a near-death situation, it shows how much trust they have in each other to just goof around and, have some quiet bantering off on the side. But Kiku, oh Kiku, had one of the best moments in this chapter. So as Kanjuro is saying the move's about to be executed, and after the whole Dogstrom and Cat Viper little banter thing about Cat Viper's new arm, Kiku dons her samurai helmet and says one of the best lines I have ever heard, and it will actually, I believe, it foreshadows just how strong Kiku is, because the samurai are insanely strong. We knew Kiku was strong, but this line really does amp up how strong she can in fact be. And I'm just going to read it real quick. The wounds this one's katana leaves do not vanish in the afterlife. Like snow that remains into the spring, they will continue to torment your soul for eternity. Now, and then she launches at Kanjuro, and the rest end up joining in with a nice little thing that turns out Dogstrom actually did in fact, his peg leg was a sword. So now he has two sword styles, so that's honestly pretty damn cool. But anyway, I do love Kiku's line because it shows that the way Kiku can use her sword can in fact foreshadow just how strong she is, because as they fight, it's possible that even if Kanjuro could survive, even if the wounds would heal, he would still have some kind of psychological thing where the cuts will still remain, or maybe it's just some sword technique that will to give like a phantom pain. You know how some people who have like I believe like some people like phantom nerves or something like that. Yeah, I believe it was something similar, because you know some people have amputated their arms or legs due to accidents from time to time during those rare occurrences. They say that a lot of times they can still feel like their hand is still there, their hand or leg is still there. Or if they had like a very bad injury in the past, like let's say they got stabbed in the chest or in the stomach, and they're fully healed. There's not even a scar there anymore. Sometimes even on rainy days, they could say, sometimes I still feel the pain from that day. So it could go to show that the strength of that blade, Kiku's technique, who knows, maybe Kiku has a secret devil fruit or something like that. Actually, I don't think so, but it's just a really cool line to show Kiku's badassery. So, anyway, moving on. We cut back to Luffy and Yamato in the attic where Yamato declared everything, revealing her identity. Oh, just real quick. I was going to call Yamato he, because Yamato identifies as Kozuki Oden, or just wants to be Oden. Never specifically said that Yamato identifies as a man completely. I could be wrong. I just want an official confirmation, because I know Kaido and everyone calls Yamato his son. But the fact that Yamato says that Yamato says that she identifies as Kozuki Oden, and then in this chapter, I'm going to say this word for word so I don't like butcher this thing. So after this whole thing, what does that mean? Basically, Luffy's like bad mouths Yamato, saying that Oden was someone that everyone loved, and that Yamato is not Oden because no one really loves her as much as anything. And she's like, then I guess what does that mean? You're more Oden than me? And then Luffy's like, I'm not Oden. I'm not Oden. I can't be Oden. I'm Luffy. Stuff like that. So this is something that has kind of come into my mind after reading it a second time, and also seeing other One Piece reviewers being like, it's more. I believe it could be just more like the inherited will, because Luffy is Roger, and Yamato could be the inherited will of Oden, since Yamato does believe that the scabbards are in fact dead. But yeah, but one thing I do like is that it teases the possibility of Yamato joining Luffy's crew, because Yamato straight up asks, due to my connection with your brother, if my logic is correct, you should be offering me a ride on your ship. Which, in all honesty, everyone that wanted Yamato to be a Straw Hat, because this is something that has been said in every single arc when a new character is involved, to add the final slot for Straw Hats, because Luffy said at the beginning of the series, and Oda specified this, for Luffy to have 10 crew members. As a confusing thing, I thought, okay, maybe the crew's going to be a whole 10 people, including Luffy. But after reading the manga, I realized that Luffy meant he himself plus 10 other people for his crew, which means there's still one more spot. At this point, it's either Yamato or Carrot that could take the last spot, because Carrot's been around for like 3 arcs now, and it basically does feel like more of a Straw Hat at this moment, and I would like to see more of Carrot. I do really like her. But having Yamato, there's also the fact that Carrot is also pretty strong in her own right, plus the Mink's ability to transfer Sulong forms at full moons. That would be great in certain fights if they ever battle somewhere with when there's a full moon. But having Yamato will also help up Luffy's renowned. Luffy's renown and his bounty even shoot up again after this, because let's say they take down Kaido and Big Mom with the alliance with Law, Kid, the Beast Pirates, and the Minks and the Samurai. Obviously, the credit's going to be distributed between Law, Luffy, and Kid. Who knows? Maybe Kid will end up getting a big boost in his bounty. Maybe he'll deal the final blow to Kaido or something. Let's say they do beat Big Mom and Kaido. That's a very strong possibility. I believe if Luffy's bounty doesn't increase too much, after this arc, he will in fact have a former warlord on his crew. And if he gets Yamato, he will have the child of an emperor on his crew. And Yamato's pretty damn strong. But enough speculation, because I do want to get this review done so I can get to the even more good stuff that happens later down the line. So as they keep talking, Luffy offers to take off Yamato's shackles, because since they're not for decoration. They're the same thing as what happened with Sanji in Whole Cake Island, as well as the collars in Udon Prison, where if the wearer leaves a certain vicinity, it will explode. Thus, Yamato would lose her hands. So, and she says she's not even sure if Kaido actually did this. For all she knows, Kaido could be lying. Even Luffy states that it's kind of hard to believe for Kaido to do that to his own kid. But Yamato says that knowing Kaido, it could very well be true. And the fear of that being true does, in fact, keep Yamato stuck here, because Yamato wanted to leave with Ace a long time ago, but couldn't because she couldn't leave the island. And she's had these things on her wrists since she was 8 years old. Which means, she's 20. That means she's 28 years old. But anyway, they keep going about this. Luffy keeps trying to take off the handcuffs and stuff. But then, right at the moment, Kaido starts his announcement, declaring everything, like saying, I'm going to try and go through this fast. It's better if I say a word for word so I don't butcher it when I try and abridge it. I'm not that great at abridging full sentences when it's super, super important and detail-oriented. Okay. Kaido begins to say that it's been 2 years since the Paramount War. And he says, the world is finally turned into motion. The 7 warlords were not disbanded because of some whim of the government. It is a sign of confidence that the Navy headquarters has new force capable of stopping us. Now, for one, again, we all know that the main reason why the warlords were disbanded was because of Fujitora and the new 3rd Admiral at Navy HQ, who is stationed at Marajoy, and due to the support of the support and knowledge from former kings from these kingdoms whose kingdoms were in fact taken advantage of by warlords. Alabasta, so the king of Alabasta and the king of Dressrosa, 2 obvious examples, and how it nearly destroyed their country. One in the Civil War, the other destroying their family and a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, he continues. But while the world government grows arrogant, we have decided to join hands with the Big Bomb pirates to seize the greatest power in the world, the ancient weapons. And I will go on to that once I finish the speech. In other words, and then just like that, Big Mom jumps in, bashes through the wall with an army of homies that look like yokai. So I gotta love how Oda is doing this, because yokai is part of Japanese mythology, and I love how he's incorporating the Big Mom's homie, how she's able to create homies. So that's honestly pretty damn cool. And a lot of the responses from the Beast Pirates as Big Mom breaks in is honestly pretty damn hilarious, especially since one of them calls her the world's most powerful hag. I mean, that's pretty much true, but if Big Mom hears you say that, she will literally steal your soul. I do love the fact that Big Mom, if she scares someone enough, she can in fact steal their soul using her soul fruit. I do love how fear plays into the whole thing with that. So Big Mom and Kaido end up having a small, tiff, a bit, banter, as Kaido continues. He says, "Listen up, people. We're putting our weight into the piracy business at long last. We're going to claim the One Piece." So we both know that Kaido and Big Mom wanted the One Piece. That is entirely well known at this point. But they both each had one road poneglyph, and they never really had anyone to read the road poneglyphs. So they never had any real way to, find the One Piece, unless because we all know that Laugh Tale can't be found without the 4 road poneglyphs. Luffy and his crew managed to find one on Zhao and copied it for Robin to decipher. When Luffy and crew went to Whole Cake Island, Brook managed to, again, MVP of that arc. I love Brook in that arc. He managed to get a copy of the road poneglyph Big Mom had right now, which means they have two. And Kaido will make three. I believe. Tell me down in the comments. Is it 3 or 4 road poneglyphs? I forgot. When I reread the chapters, I want to be entirely sure. I think it's 4, which means they'll probably get Kaido's, but the 4th one is still unknown. But again, there hasn't been any real way for them to decipher the road poneglyphs unless they have a Kozuki. Momo comes into play here. I believe, because what happens next is Kaido, and a lot more stuff happens in this, and I will describe why Momo will play an important part later down the road at the end of this video. So they begin to talk. Orochi is honestly pretty surprised at what's going on with this, and he's like, "Oh yes, sure, that's honestly pretty good for you, Kaido. Very well." And then Kaido continues to say that he has to say something for Orochi's men and the samurai. Since Wano is up a giant waterfall and it's basically an impenetrable fortress that keeps the world government and even the navy away, he wants, and I quote, "If we expand more weapons and factories and turn the populace of the flower capital into a labor force," so he wants to turn the residents of the flower capital into laborers for his factories, for his weapons factories and smile fruit factories. Actually, no, I don't think he has smile fruit because Doflamingo got taken down. Yeah, that's right. Doflamingo got taken down. He has no smile fruits left. So what happens next is that with that, he will turn Wano into a lawless land, and it'll be a paradise for pirates around the world. And as you would imagine, Orochi is kind of pissed off at this and surprised. He begins to say, "Hold on a minute, Kaido. Flower Capital is my territory. We never even discussed something like this." And then Kaido... Now, at first, I thought Kaido just used his club. But after taking another look at this chapter, turns out King held up his sword, and Kaido pulled it out and slashed the top of Orochi's head off, killing him. Because we do see Orochi's head fall down on the ground. I think Orochi might actually be dead, though it is a bit anticlimactic with the story of the Kozuki, because they want revenge on not just Kaido, but also Orochi. I'll go into detail on why he's not dead, because I got this idea from other One Piece YouTubers who have described why he can't be dead. It's highly possible. But anyway, they continue to say that they don't really care about the strifes of the Kurozumi or Kozuki clans anymore. There's no real need for that. As is going on, since Luffy and Yamato were peeping through the crack in the floorboards, and as it keeps cracking down, Luffy manages, again, they react a bunch of times. Luffy's like, "One Piece, I'm going to get the One Piece." As Yamato is trying to calm Luffy down and tell him to shut up, Luffy sees Momo on the execution platform. And then the ceiling breaks, they fall to the ground. Then, Kaido gives a sweeping declaration for the samurai of Wano and Orochi's men. "Join me now and be pirates, or go against me and die." Because once this happens, they're going to turn Onigashima into the new flower capital, and then Wano will be destroyed. It will be the end of Wano, and it will hereby be called the new Onigashima. The capital will be called New Onigashima. And one thing I do want to say, as he's saying this, we do get to see a bloodied sword. Next panel, Kiku, it looks like tears from her face. And then he says, "Sweet declaration, Yamato will be the new shogun of Wano." So that's a lot of information right there in one chapter. And I have to say, I am very pleased what the new Onigashima project is. But now, let me just cap off this video with what I think is going to happen next, especially with Momo and Orochi. So first off with Momo. Remember, the Kozuki were the ones that created the poneglyphs in the first place centuries ago, and Oden managed to read them. I do feel like Momo would have learned what the poneglyphs were, how to read the poneglyphs, due to the fact that he is, in fact, a Kozuki. Maybe Oden taught him, or maybe he learned it as part of his training to become the next shogun or something like that, or next daimyo, when back when he was a baby, while Oden was pretending to be a fool to keep the people of Curry safe. So, I do believe that Kaido will in fact keep Momo alive for this fact. Now, I don't think Kaido is just gonna straight up murder a kid. I don't think he's that heartless. In fact, he felt because the way he didn't feel right killing Momo than there 20 years ago, and he didn't feel right the way he beat Odin and how he killed Odin 20 years ago. So I do feel like since they're really serious about going for the One Piece and the ancient weapons, they're going to need someone that could read the poneglyphs. So if Momo, in fact, does know how to read the poneglyphs, they will keep him alive as part of their plan to find the One Piece, read the real poneglyphs, and read the poneglyphs that detail what the ancient weapons are, where to find their blueprints, and how to build them. Now, we know the blueprints for Pluton were burnt up by Frankie back before the time skip during Enies Lobby, but that doesn't mean it's the only blueprints out there. For all we know, the other poneglyphs could have detailed instructions on where these blueprints, But yeah, that's what I believe they'll keep him alive so he can read them. But like I said, the ancient weapons can in fact be the blueprints can be scattered throughout the world. One was destroyed. The other one, no one knows who it is. The other is the princess from back at the beginning of the time skip. But if they get their hands on the ancient weapons, then they'll be able to conquer the world. That is an undisputed fact if they manage to get their hands on it. But it's a sweeping declaration. Not to mention, since they're going to find the One Piece, they are going to need a lot of manpower and someone that could read those pieces of text. Now, if Orochi is in fact dead after being decapitated, well, other One Piece YouTubers said that the devil fruit he has in the creature it's based on has like 8 heads. So cut off one, the others can in fact keep sprouting out. You could essentially have 8 lives, for all we know. So it's very possible that even Kaido doesn't know the full extent of that devil fruit power. Not even Orochi does. Otherwise, he wouldn't be as paranoid of dying. So yeah, he could very well be alive, but it could be a possibility. There's no real way to find out until we find out next chapter. One Piece is going to be off this week, so it's going to be for all of Shonen Jump pretty much next weekend. So yeah, we have that in the back of our heads for a while. But what did you guys think? Was this a good chapter? What do you think is going to happen next? And do you think Kiku managed to deal damage to Kanjuro? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know what you think will in fact happen next. And hope you guys have an awesome day.